Welcome to Tactics for the Club World Cup final analysis as Chelsea dominated against PSG and won 3-0. We're going to take a look at three strategies. It was the out of possession strategy, the attacking organisation and the attacking transition. We'll start with the out of possession strategy. So Chelsea lined up in a 4-2-3-1 with Reece James, number 24, in midfield. Out of possession in the high press, they looked to shift into a 4-4-2 formation with Enzo Fernandez, number 8, joining Pedro, number 20, on the first pressing line. There was different strategies they used within the high press, but from here the two forwards on the pressing line tried to prevent progression with the centre-backs of PSG while shadow marking Vitinha, who was working behind them. So this is what the pressing shape looked like as a visual. We've got the two forward players pressing the two PSG centre-backs. We then got a midfield four, and it's looking at Palmer, who will jump out to the left centre-back position, whether that's Mendes or Vitinha. With this structure, they try and maintain a 4v3, but Chalobah and Colwill from centre-back are willing to jump. Here it shows that 17, Vitinha, drops into the left centre-back position, and this becomes Palmer's responsibility rather than Mendes. Whoever was playing in that left centre-back position would generally be matched up with Palmer, and he would find himself up against Vitinha in counter-attacking positions. If Mendes dropped into the left centre-back position, again, Palmer would come out to press, trying to keep play on one side of the pitch. Chalobah would then jump onto Ruiz in the 8 position. We can see this example here. So on the left-hand side, we've got Mendes, who receives the ball. Palmer has come out to press. Chalobah will jump with Ruiz. And because Neto on the far side of the pitch can come in and close, Caicedo can drop and offer protection on the defensive line. Chelsea leave the furthest player on the opposite side of the pitch. It's Reece James' responsibility in the central position to stop Vitinha dictating play and switching play. And you can see that position allows him to intercept any pass that could go into Vitinha. When Chelsea shifted to a full press, they had the problem of the number 8, Ruiz. The options were for Chalobah, number 23, to jump out, or what Chelsea used was Cole Palmer going to a deeper position. Because James, number 24, was tracking Vitinha, it left a hole in the middle of the pitch. So Palmer quite often ended up being the deepest midfield player, and it was him who worked in the deeper position to prevent any balls going straight into Ruiz. Of course, they wanted Palmer at the pitch as high as possible, as often as possible. So Chalobah would take over and jump out, which put Chelsea into that man-to-man setup. Just taking a look at that, we can see Caicedo and James are being aggressive with Neves and Vitinha, which leaves a hole in the centre of the pitch, and it's called Palmer, who ends up being the deepest player. In this instance, it's actually Dembele who's the problem, as Ruiz is higher. So you can see the position that Cole Palmer takes, and in previous games against Liverpool and Arsenal, Dembele has picked the ball up in these pockets and gone on to create or score goals. So as the ball is played into Dembele, it's Cole Palmer in that centre midfield position who picks up the ball. But as we spoke about, we don't want Cole Palmer defending deep. We want him in a high position to play on the attacking transition. So at times it was Chalobah who would jump out as Ruiz or Dembele would cross into the opposite side of the pitch, or if they were in close contact with that roaming player. Dembele has been a huge threat all season. He drops from that forward line into midfield positions or wide positions, but Chalobah and Colwill ensured that he was followed and tracked wherever he went across the pitch. Communication between both players was excellent. Of course, PSG had their moments of control, and Chelsea would drop back into a 5-3-2 or a 5-2-3, but still maintained pressure on the ball. They weren't just happy to sit on the edge of the box. And the players shifted between them to make sure central areas were covered, while still maintaining an attacking transition threat, especially through Cole Palmer. Palmer in this 10 position quite often went up against the left centre back, and if Chelsea won the ball back, this is where they would try to find space with Palmer on the transition. This is an image of Chelsea in that lower block. So you can see the wide connection of PSG on the left-hand side. Now Chelsea placed trust in Chalobah, James and Gusto to take care of that wide connection and leave Palmer spare in front of them rather than dragging him back. He is now up against Vitinha in that left centre-back position if Chelsea win the ball back. And this led to some good positions and actually led to one of Palmer's goals. We'll show some examples of the attacking transitions. So Chelsea had 25 attacking transitions in the first half, and 18 of them they were able to find their forward players within 3 to 5 passes. So they've won the ball back here. It's a simple ball forward into Palmer, but you can see the threat at the top end of the pitch once they do secure that ball. Again, they win possession, find the forward pass early, and Pedro made some brilliant runs in behind, gets down the channel. I think he was actually offside on this occasion though. Chalobah winning the ball, immediate looking forward to Neto with a superb pass. And support quickly around him. Again, Sanchez punches the ball clear. Poor rest defence positions from PSG, and Pedro picks up the loose ball. Neto and Palmer spring from the half space to lead a counter-attack. Chelsea get men behind the ball, win the ball in a lower position. Pedro again, brilliant runs down the channels, and the support is quick to come from behind. Finally, the goal. Win the ball back in central positions. Palmer up against Vitinha, which was a highlight of the first half. You can see the front four supporting with Pedro's run, taking Vitinha away. Palmer can come inside with a superb finish. So moving on to some of the in-possession work that Chelsea used to dismantle the PSG defence. Heavy focus down the right-hand side. But first of all, let's look at the system shift. So move into a 3-box-3 formation, where Cucurella drops into the left centre-back position and Gusto moves into a higher right position. The roles of the front three then, Neto, Pedro and Gusto, is to stretch the back three or back four of PSG. Visually you can see that here as Gusto advances into that right position, and that moves Palmer inside, caused problems for Mendes all throughout the game. Cucurella drops back into a left centre back position, and we can see that 3-4-3 with the box midfield starting to develop. Once again, Sanchez is on the ball. Gusto starts to advance and Palmer's moved inside. And once again, Cucurella from the left-hand side will come round and create that 3-4-3. James and Casido as the two holding midfielders, with Palmer inside next to Enzo Fernandez. Neto on the top of the picture holds the width on the left. With Parma moving inside, it gives Chelsea a diamond or a box and a 4 against 3, which they utilised well, with Parma having great joy. And Chelsea have the back three. As we said, Cucurella dropped to left centre-back, but Chalobah, 23 in particular, attracted attention of Kvaratskhelia, the PSG left winger, which freed Gusto on the right-hand side and caused all sorts of problems. We've got a visual on that, so we can see Kvara's attention is towards Chalobah, even though he is under pressure from Dembele, and Gusto continued to run off the back of Kvaratskhelia, and Parma had joy as Mendes started to be attracted to that run of Gusto. We can see that here. This actually leads to the goal of Pedro just before half-time. And with Kvaratskhelia trying to press the outside centre-back, it left an overload on the right, with Gusto holding a width with Parma drifting inside. You can see here, even from the kicks from Sanchez, it's Gusto holding a width with Parma inside and free, as Mendes can't deal with the 2v1. This is a visual of that. So Gusto leaves Kvaratskhelia. Well, first of all, he gets back Kvaratskhelia. Gusto plays the ball back to Chalobah and runs off the back. Mendes is attracted to Gusto, and now Parma can drive forward and creates the assist for Pedro, all through the overload down the right-hand side. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to read this article with all of the visuals and more videos, it's available on our website at www.tacticscoach.com.